Attraction is often misunderstood. Most men think it's about charm, humor, or showing off wealth or status. The truth, revealed by Stoicism, is far deeper and more powerful. Women are subconsciously drawn to men who exude calm confidence, self-mastery, and unwavering presence. These qualities create a magnetic pull that doesn't rely on superficial gestures or words. There is a precise turning point when she stops seeing you as just another man and begins to think about you constantly, replaying your energy and interactions in her mind. This moment is not forced. It emerges naturally from how you embody Stoic principles in your life. The first secret is emotional control. Women are attracted to men who do not react impulsively to life's challenges, who maintain inner calm and stability, even in chaotic circumstances. This stability creates comfort and intrigue simultaneously. The moment she notices that you are unmoved by drama, indifferent to petty approval, and steady in your actions, she begins to see you as rare and irreplaceable. This is a turning point because she unconsciously compares you to other men and realizes that your presence cannot be easily replicated. The second secret is strategic absence. Stoicism teaches the value of detachment, not as a manipulation, but as a reflection of inner self-sufficiency. By being fully engaged in your life, pursuing your goals and purpose, you create an invisible pull. She begins to notice your absence, and her mind naturally wanders to you. This is the moment when she realizes that you are not dependent on her attention, yet your presence still matters profoundly in her thoughts. The third secret involves subtle, emotional influence. Every interaction, word, and gesture carries an energetic signature. Women unconsciously track patterns of stability, confidence, and mastery. When you combine quiet strength with attunement to her emotions, she begins to feel a tension between admiration and desire. This tension ignites mental replay, and it's precisely in these silent, Stoic-driven moments that the turning point emerges. She starts thinking about you long after the interaction ends. Another crucial principle is selective engagement. A Stoic man knows when to speak and when to remain silent, when to act and when to observe. By being intentionally present in moments that matter and detached in others, you cultivate mystery and curiosity. She notices that you do not chase, yet you are always consistent in value. This behavior triggers subconscious fascination, leading her to an awareness that she cannot easily forget you because your energy is both rare and compelling. The power of aligned values is the fifth secret. When a woman perceives that your words, actions, and decisions are consistently guided by clarity and integrity, she experiences a sense of trust and respect. Stoicism emphasizes living in accordance with virtue. And when she sees that you embody these principles effortlessly, she begins to associate you with stability, depth, and reliability. At this point, the turning point solidifies. She doesn't just admire you, she begins to internally measure others against the standard you unconsciously set. Challenge and intrigue are equally vital. Women are drawn to men who are confident enough to challenge their perspectives without being confrontational. By asking thought-provoking questions, introducing playful tension, or inviting her into moments of mental and emotional engagement, you activate curiosity. This is not manipulation. It is Stoic influence through subtle intellectual and emotional stimulation, creating the conditions for her to remember and desire your presence continuously. The eighth secret is unwavering presence in shared moments. Stoicism teaches mastery over attention. When you are fully attentive and present with her, without being clingy or reactive, she perceives authenticity and strength. These moments leave lasting emotional imprints, making her replay the experience internally. She begins to recognize that your energy has a rare quality, both grounding and compelling, and this realization drives her thoughts long after the encounter. Controlled vulnerability is another key principle. Stoicism does not suppress emotion, but directs it with discipline. Showing selective openness about your thoughts, experiences, or values conveys emotional strength and authenticity. When a woman senses that you can be real without losing composure, she experiences both trust and intrigue simultaneously. This dynamic creates a mental and emotional hook, marking the beginning of the point where she cannot stop thinking about you, finally. The culmination of these principles reveals why Stoicism creates the turning point. Presence, mastery, subtle challenge, aligned values, controlled vulnerability, and emotional influence converge to make a man unforgettable. The moment she realizes she cannot forget you is not triggered by words alone. It is the embodied energy of a man who lives purposefully, acts intentionally, and maintains inner calm, leaving her mind and heart consistently returning to you. At this stage, focus on the power of emotional consistency. Women are subconsciously drawn to men who maintain stable energy, even during unexpected situations. A Stoic man's calm demeanor signals that he is unshakable and self-reliant, which creates subconscious trust and admiration. She notices that you are not reactive to minor drama, criticism, or uncertainty, which leaves a lasting impression that makes her mentally revisit your presence repeatedly. Strategic absence and non-neediness play a crucial role. By living a life independent of her attention, pursuing your purpose, and prioritizing your growth, you create a natural pull. Absence generates mental space for her to notice the void your presence fills, prompting reflection and desire. This is a Stoic principle. Attraction is amplified when she recognizes that your attention is not freely given to anyone, yet she feels privileged to receive it. The influence of subtle leadership becomes apparent here. Women are unconsciously drawn to men who demonstrate quiet authority. It may be in decision-making, handling challenges, or guiding experiences. Questions like, "If we were exploring a new city, which route would you trust me to take?" subtly signal confident leadership, positioning you as someone rare and dependable. At this point, she begins to internalize your energy as irreplaceable and magnetic. Intellectual engagement is another pillar. Stoic men create attraction through curiosity-driven conversation that provokes thought without desperation. Asking questions like, "What's one belief you've changed over time?" or "Which challenge taught you the most?" keeps her mind active and engaged, making her mentally chase the connection, which naturally enhances the turning point where she can't stop thinking about you. Subtle challenge and intrigue maintain her attention and admiration. Questions that are slightly playful, lightly teasing, or intellectually challenging, like, "I wonder if you'd be able to guess how I approach challenges differently than others," create tension that draws her subconscious attention. This balance of mystery and approachability is crucial in establishing emotional and cognitive attraction simultaneously. Highlighting shared values and alignment strengthens attachment. Ask, "Which principle guides your decisions the most?" or "What's one thing in life you'd never compromise?" These questions convey that you are a man of clarity, purpose, and integrity. When she sees alignment between your Stoic mindset and her personal values, her subconscious signals that you are rare, worthy, and unforgettable. Controlled vulnerability and authenticity deepen emotional resonance. A Stoic man selectively reveals personal stories, lessons, or insights without overexposure. Questions like, "What's a moment that challenged you but shaped you positively?" allow her to feel emotional depth and connect authentically. This combination of presence, restraint, and selective vulnerability fosters a mental and emotional loop that keeps her thinking about you. Attention to subtle body language and energy is crucial. Stoic men understand that attraction is often communicated non-verbally. The way you listen, maintain eye contact, or pause before speaking sends a subconscious message of confidence and calm mastery. Women register this energy subconsciously, and it is this alignment of verbal and non-verbal cues that marks the beginning of her noticing she cannot forget you. Strategic consistency in interactions is key. Being reliable in your energy, yet unpredictable in a playful and intriguing way, creates cognitive patterns that trigger her mind to replay your presence. This is where the turning point emerges. She begins to notice that her thoughts drift to you even in your absence, because your interactions are imbued with controlled energy and emotional intelligence. Finally, paragraphs 11-20 reinforce that the combination of calm confidence, strategic absence, selective vulnerability, intellectual engagement, and subtle challenge is what creates the turning point. The moment she realizes she cannot forget you, arises not from words alone, but from a lifetime of consistent, Stoic-aligned energy and presence, leaving a lasting, subconscious imprint that ensures her attention, curiosity, and admiration remain focused on you. At this stage, focus on the subtle use of curiosity-driven questions. A Stoic man never rushes to reveal everything about himself. Instead, he drops hints and leaves small openings for exploration. Questions like, "If I told you one thing about myself that surprises most people, would you want to know? Or do you think you could guess how I handle challenges differently?" Spark intrigue and mental replay, compelling her to think about you repeatedly. The power of selective attention cannot be overstated. Women are drawn to men who show focused presence in shared moments, yet remain independent outside of them. By valuing your time and energy while engaging fully when together, you create a dynamic where she subconsciously measures your presence as rare and valuable. This drives her to reflect on your interactions and internalize your significance. Emotional resonance is essential. Ask questions that trigger reflection like, "What moment in your life made you feel truly alive?" Or "When was the last time you felt completely understood?" Such inquiries tap into deep emotions, allowing her to link those experiences with your calm, grounded energy. This combination of emotional depth and stoic stability ensures her mind continuously circles back to you. Controlled challenge and playful tension amplify attraction. Questions like, "I bet you couldn't guess what I'm thinking. Want to try? Or would you dare to join me in something completely unexpected?" are not manipulative but strategically stimulate curiosity. This creates a mental loop, leaving her intrigued and engaged. A critical factor in the turning point when she starts noticing she cannot forget you. Demonstrating self-mastery through questions sets you apart. Asking, "How do you handle stress when nothing goes as planned?" Or "What's a challenge you faced that shaped your character?" conveys that you value discipline and resilience, signaling that you live with intention and control, which women find unconsciously compelling. Highlighting shared ideals and values fosters subconscious alignment. Questions like, "Which personal principles are non-negotiable for you?" or "Who inspires you to be better?" allow her to reflect while recognizing your stoic clarity and ethical grounding. This mental alignment reinforces her perception that you are rare, admirable, and worth remembering. Hypothetical scenarios can deepen mental engagement. And "If I invited you on an adventure you've never imagined, what would you do?" Or "If I revealed a side of myself only a few people see, would you want to know?" These questions invite her to mentally place herself with you, generating anticipation and curiosity, which strengthens subconscious attraction. Subtle vulnerability and authenticity build trust. A Stoic man shares insights selectively, signaling emotional strength without neediness. Questions like, "What fear have you faced that changed you?" or "Have you ever revealed something about yourself that surprised others?" allow for intimacy, making her feel safe, understood, and mentally attached. The role of calm confidence in engagement cannot be overstated. By maintaining composed energy during deep conversations, asking meaningful questions, and showing genuine curiosity, you create a magnetic presence. She notices your self-assurance and begins to replay your calm, confident demeanor in her mind, increasing her mental and emotional attachment. Finally, paragraphs 21-30 highlight that curiosity, emotional resonance, playful challenge, aligned values, selective vulnerability, and calm presence collectively guide her to the turning point. She starts to see you not just as a man she interacts with, but as a rare, grounded, and intriguing presence she cannot forget. This is the subtle power of Stoicism applied to attraction, leaving a lasting subconscious impression through deliberate action and measured energy. At this stage, focus on the power of subtle mental engagement. Stoic men understand that attraction is amplified when a woman's mind is actively thinking about them, asking questions like, "If I shared something unexpected about myself, would you want to guess what it is?" Or "What do you think someone like me values most in life?" subtly draws her into mental exploration of your persona, keeping her curiosity alive. Controlled mystery is crucial. Instead of oversharing, provide hints that allow her to fill in the gaps mentally. Questions like, "If I invited you to a place you've never been, would you trust me?" create anticipation and intrigue. This technique plants seeds of fascination and begins the subtle process of her realizing that your presence is unforgettable. Strategic challenge reinforces attraction. Questions like, do you think you could keep up with someone who lives intentionally and with purpose? Stimulate her competitive and adventurous instincts. This is not about confrontation. It's about gently inviting her to invest mental energy, which deepens subconscious attachment and admiration. Emotional resonance through reflective questions strengthens the connection. Ask, what experience has shaped you the most? Or when have you felt truly alive? These questions encourage her to reflect on meaningful memories, linking those emotions to your calm and grounded energy. This creates a lasting mental and emotional imprint that she can't easily shake. Questions about values and character subtly showcase your stoic depth. Ask, which personal principle would you never compromise? Or what qualities in others inspire you most? These inquiries reveal that you are aligned with virtue, discipline, and self-mastery, which are qualities that women unconsciously find compelling and unforgettable. The power of selective curiosity cannot be overstated. A stoic man knows how to ask questions that spark engagement without appearing needy. For example, if I revealed one thing about myself that surprises everyone, would you want to know? Or do you think you could guess how I approach challenges differently? These questions stimulate mental loops, making her think about you subconsciously. Subtle vulnerability and authenticity increase emotional attachment. By asking, have you ever faced a fear that completely transformed you? Or what's a secret you rarely share? You signal emotional intelligence and self-mastery. She perceives your ability to handle depth without judgment, which fosters trust and fascination. Key factors in her realizing she cannot forget you. Playful tension and intrigue enhance mental engagement. Ask, I wonder if you'd dare to take on a challenge with me, would you? Or do you think you could surprise me? These types of questions create mental stimulation and curiosity, keeping her thoughts occupied with you long after your interaction ends. Emphasizing independence and stoic calm is essential. Questions like, what's one thing you do just for yourself? Or have you ever admired someone's composure under pressure? Subtly communicate that you are self-reliant and emotionally stable, qualities that women subconsciously link with value, rarity, and desirability. Finally, paragraphs 31 to 40 reinforce that curiosity. Emotional resonance, challenge, aligned values, controlled vulnerability, and stoic presence collectively guide her toward the turning point. She begins to recognize your rarity, your grounding, and your depth, and her mind naturally gravitates toward you. This is the subtle power of stoic principles, creating a lasting mental and emotional impression that ensures she cannot forget you. At this stage, focus on questions that emphasize subtle leadership and guidance. A stoic man demonstrates his presence not through words alone, but through actions and energy. Asking, if we were exploring a new city, which path would you trust me to take? Or how would you react if I guided you through a challenge you've never faced? Signals calm authority. She begins to perceive you as someone rare, reliable, and irreplaceable, marking the early turning point of unforgettable attraction. Emotional consistency strengthens the mental imprint. Women notice when a man maintains composure in moments of uncertainty or tension. By embodying stability and self-mastery, you create a contrast to the chaos most men display. This subtle reliability makes her think about you repeatedly because she unconsciously recognizes that your energy is hard to replicate or replace. The use of selective engagement heightens intrigue. A stoic man knows when to listen, when to observe, and when to speak. Questions like, what's one moment that taught you more than any lesson could? Or what challenge would you accept if you knew you couldn't fail? Stimulate her mind while showcasing your calm curiosity and reflective intelligence, increasing the chance she mentally revisits your interactions. Intellectual and emotional engagement deepens attraction. Questions that encourage introspection, like, which life experience changed your perspective the most? Invite her to connect deeply with you. When coupled with your stoic presence, these inquiries create subconscious resonance, leaving her to replay your demeanor and energy in her mind long after the conversation ends. Subtle challenge and playful tension continue to reinforce your magnetic presence. Asking, do you think you could keep up with someone who acts deliberately, yet unpredictably, encourages curiosity while positioning you as confident and rare. Women subconsciously measure other men against this standard, and your calm, deliberate energy sets you apart. Highlighting shared values creates emotional alignment. Questions like, which principles guide your decisions? Or what trait in others do you admire most? Reveal depth in both parties and invite reflection. This alignment signals that you are a man of clarity, purpose, and integrity, which she begins to respect and remember, amplifying her subconscious attraction. The power of controlled vulnerability is vital. Asking, have you ever faced a challenge that changed your life? Or what's something you rarely share with anyone? Allows her to open up emotionally while you remain stoically grounded, showing that you can handle depth without neediness. This creates a strong mental and emotional bond, crucial for the moment she realizes she cannot forget you. Questions that evoke imagination and anticipation are highly effective. For example, if I invited you on an adventure you've never experienced, what would you do? Or if I revealed something unusual about myself, would you want to know? These scenarios keep her thinking about you, creating mental loops that reinforce attraction subconsciously. Playful tension combined with stoic calm keeps her engaged. Ask, do you think you could guess my next move? Or would you dare to take on a challenge with me? This sparks curiosity while maintaining your grounded, confident energy, making her mentally replay your presence and actions repeatedly. Strengthening her subconscious desire, finally. Paragraphs 41-50 emphasize that stoic presence, emotional consistency, intellectual engagement, playful challenge, controlled vulnerability, and alignment of values collectively create the turning point where she begins to realize she cannot forget you. This is not about manipulation. It's about embodying a calm, confident, and rare energy that leaves an unforgettable imprint on her mind and heart. At this stage, the focus shifts to questions that subtly provoke curiosity and anticipation. A stoic man knows that women are drawn to mystery paired with calm confidence. Asking questions like, if I told you one thing about myself that surprises most people, would you want to know? Or what's a secret you've never shared with anyone? Stimulates her imagination, ensuring she replays thoughts of you long after the conversation ends. The power of emotional resonance continues to build. Questions that invite reflection on meaningful experiences like, which experience in your life changed you most? Or when have you felt completely alive? Allow her to associate deep, powerful emotions with your presence. This creates a subconscious bond where she begins to think about you repeatedly, even when you are absent. Strategic challenge is a cornerstone of attraction. Stoic men use questions that lightly challenge her, like, do you think you could keep up with someone who doesn't follow the usual rules? Or would you dare to take on a challenge with me? These subtle provocations generate mental tension and curiosity, compelling her to reflect on your presence and gauge your energy repeatedly. Highlighting aligned values strengthens attraction and respect. Questions such as, what personal principle would you never compromise? Or which qualities in others inspire you most? Reveal your depth without arrogance. When she sees consistency in your values and stoic composure, her mind begins to anchor positive associations to your presence, solidifying the turning point of unforgettable attraction. Controlled vulnerability and authenticity create trust and intimacy. Asking, have you ever faced a fear that reshaped your life? Or what part of yourself do you rarely show? Signals emotional strength and maturity. Women subconsciously notice your ability to handle depth with calm, reinforcing your rare magnetic energy and leaving a lasting mental imprint. Playful curiosity stimulates engagement without neediness. Questions like, I wonder if you dare to take a challenge I set, would you? Or do you think you could guess my next move? Keep her mind active, subtly reinforcing the impression that you are interesting, confident, and unpredictable in a controlled, stoic manner. Mental projection questions deepen attachment. For example, if I invited you on an adventure you've never experienced, what would you do? Or if I shared one secret about myself, would you want to discover it? These questions prompt her to imagine scenarios with you, reinforcing desire and creating subconscious anticipation of your presence. The role of Stoic calm in questioning is critical. By maintaining composure, listening actively, and asking meaningful questions, you demonstrate self-mastery and control, which are inherently attractive. She subconsciously begins to link your steady energy with reliability and strength, making it harder for her to forget your presence. Subtle intrigue and challenge combined with empathy generate deep fascination. Questions like, "Could you surprise me with something unexpected?" Or "Do you think you'd rise to a challenge I set?" stimulate curiosity, playfulness, and emotional connection simultaneously. This creates mental loops where she keeps replaying your energy and presence long after the encounter. Finally, paragraphs 51-60 reinforce that curiosity. Emotional resonance, subtle challenge, aligned values, controlled vulnerability, and stoic presence collectively drive the turning point where she realizes she cannot forget you. These strategies are not about manipulation. They are about embodying a rare, confident, and grounded energy that leaves an unforgettable imprint on her mind and heart, ensuring lasting attraction. At this stage, focus on questions that subtly emphasize your independence and self-mastery. A Stoic man's energy is magnetic because it is not dependent on external validation. Asking questions like, "What's one thing you do purely for yourself without anyone knowing?" signals that you are self-reliant and purposeful, leaving her intrigued by your autonomy. This sparks subconscious admiration, marking the path toward her realizing she cannot forget you. Strategic curiosity drives emotional engagement. Questions like, "If I shared a secret about myself, would you want to guess it first? Or do you think you could keep up with someone who lives intentionally?" invite her to mentally fill in the blanks, keeping her mind active and constantly returning to your energy. This subtle mental stimulation is a hallmark of Stoic influence. Playful challenge questions are highly effective. For instance, "I bet you can't guess what I find most fascinating about you. Want to try? Or would you dare to step outside your comfort zone with me?" These questions engage her curiosity, spark mental tension, and demonstrate confidence without desperation, leaving a lasting impression. Emotionally reflective questions deepen subconscious attachment. Asking which experience has shaped you the most? Or when have you felt truly alive? Prompts her to relive meaningful moments. By associating those emotions with your calm, grounded energy, she links intense feelings to your presence, increasing her mental focus on you. Highlighting aligned values and depth increases perceived rarity. Questions like, "Which principles do you refuse to compromise?" or "What traits inspire you most in others?" demonstrate that you live intentionally and with integrity. She perceives you as a man of substance, making her mind linger on your presence and character far beyond the conversation. Hypothetical and imaginative scenarios reinforce fascination. For example, "If I invited you on an experience that challenges your perception, how would you respond?" Or "If I hinted at something unique about myself, would you want to uncover it?" These questions encourage her to mentally project herself with you, keeping her thoughts looping around your persona. Subtle vulnerability paired with stoic composure builds trust. Asking, "What fear have you faced that completely changed you?" or "What's a hidden part of yourself you see?" conveys emotional intelligence without neediness. Women subconsciously recognize your stability, reinforcing the turning point where she realizes your presence is rare and unforgettable. The art of mental engagement through playful tension is key. Questions like, "Could you surprise me with something unexpected?" or "Do you think you could outsmart me at a challenge?" encourage curiosity and engagement. Your calm, confident energy ensures that she is intrigued without feeling pressured, deepening the subconscious connection. Stoic calm in responses strengthens attraction. By maintaining composure, asking meaningful questions, and listening actively, you demonstrate self-mastery. She subconsciously links your steady, grounded energy with reliability, strength, and rarity, which naturally keeps you in her thoughts. Finally, that strategic curiosity, emotional resonance, subtle challenge, aligned values, controlled vulnerability, and stoic presence collectively cement the turning point. She begins to internalize your uniqueness, calm confidence, and grounded energy, realizing that your presence is not easily forgotten. This is the subtle power of Stoicism, leaving a long-lasting, subconscious imprint on her mind and heart. At this stage, the focus shifts to questions that evoke anticipation and mental projection. Stoic men understand that women are deeply influenced by curiosity and imagination, asking, "If I showed you an experience you've never imagined, would you trust me? Or what would you do if I hinted at something remarkable about myself?" Encourages her to mentally replay scenarios involving you, subtly increasing her attachment. The power of emotional resonance is essential. Questions that prompt reflection like, "What's a memory that still excites you?" Or "When have you felt completely understood?" Create a link between her feelings and your stoic presence. By consistently associating her strongest emotions with your energy, you begin to anchor yourself in her subconscious mind, making you unforgettable. Strategic challenge and playful engagement continue to drive fascination. Questions like, "I wonder if you'd dare to keep up with me?" Or "Do you think you could surprise me with something unexpected?" stimulate curiosity while highlighting your confidence and composure, which leaves a lasting impression that she cannot ignore. Highlighting shared values and depth reinforces mental and emotional alignment. Questions such as, "Which principle guides your life decisions?" Or "What traits do you admire most in others?" subtly signal that you live intentionally and with purpose. Women subconsciously recognize these qualities as rare and valuable, prompting subconscious admiration and reflection. Controlled vulnerability paired with stoic strength builds trust and intimacy. Asking, "What fear have you overcome that shaped who you are?" Or "What part of yourself do you rarely show others?" signals emotional intelligence without dependency. This allows her to feel safe while associating your presence with stability, authenticity, and magnetic energy. Questions that stimulate imagination and suspense create mental loops that reinforce attraction. For example, "If I hinted at something unique about me, would you want to uncover it? Or would you trust me to guide you through an unforgettable experience?" These questions keep her thinking about you subconsciously, reinforcing the turning point where she cannot stop replaying your presence. Playful mental challenges strengthen intrigue. Ask, "Do you think you could beat me at this challenge?" Or "Could you surprise me in a way I wouldn't expect?" By combining confidence with stoic calm, you create subtle tension that engages her mind, making your presence unforgettable without manipulation. The influence of attentive presence is critical. Stoic men demonstrate full engagement in conversations and moments without desperation. By listening carefully, asking meaningful questions, and remaining composed, you signal reliability and stability. This mental imprint leaves her reflecting on your presence repeatedly, increasing her subconscious attachment. Subtle intrigue and consistency elevate fascination. By balancing curiosity, playfulness, and emotional depth while maintaining a calm demeanor, she begins to view you as rare, grounded, and magnetic. This combination of traits ensures that your energy lingers in her mind, forming the basis of unforgettable attraction. Finally, paragraphs 71-80 reinforce that strategic curiosity, emotional resonance, subtle challenge, aligned values, controlled vulnerability, and stoic presence collectively guide her to the turning point, where she realizes she cannot forget you. These principles are not manipulative. They are a reflection of intentional, disciplined, and grounded energy, leaving a long-lasting mental and emotional imprint that ensures enduring attraction. At this stage, focus on questions that subtly ignite her imagination. Stoic men understand that curiosity is a powerful tool in attraction, asking, "If I hinted at a part of me few people know, would you want to discover it? Or what would you do if I invited you into an unexpected experience?" Engages her mind and encourages her to mentally replay your interactions, deepening emotional and cognitive attachment. Emotional resonance continues to solidify your presence, asking reflective questions like, "Which experience made you feel most alive?" Or "What moment changed the way you view yourself?" Connects her strongest emotions with your grounded and confident energy. By associating her inner feelings with your stoic composure, you create a mental imprint that lingers long after the encounter. Strategic challenge reinforces attraction and intrigue. Questions like, Do you think you could keep up with someone who thrives on self-mastery? Or would you dare to join me in something completely new? Stimulate curiosity while highlighting your calm, confident, and purposeful energy, making you unforgettable. Highlighting shared principles and values creates subconscious alignment. Questions such as, which personal principle do you hold above all else? Or what traits do you admire most in others? Subtly communicate that you are intentional, disciplined, and virtuous. This fosters mental alignment and reinforces the notion that your presence is rare and compelling. Controlled vulnerability deepens trust and fascination. Asking, have you ever confronted a fear that transformed you? Or what part of yourself do you rarely share? Demonstrates emotional intelligence while maintaining stoic composure. This allows her to explore her own depth and associate it with your calm, grounded energy, creating a lasting mental connection. Hypothetical and imaginative scenarios heighten engagement. Questions like, if I revealed one thing that most people don't notice about me, would you want to know? Or what would you do if I invited you on a life-changing adventure? Stimulate her imagination, creating anticipation and reinforcing the subconscious recognition that you are rare and intriguing. Playful tension and curiosity strengthen attraction. Ask, could you surprise me in a way I wouldn't expect? Or do you think you could keep up with a man who lives intentionally? This combination of playfulness and calm, confident energy encourages mental loops where she continuously thinks about you, marking the early stages of obsession. Attention to stoic presence and energy is critical. By remaining fully present, engaged, and non-reactive, you communicate mastery and stability. She subconsciously registers your consistency and calm authority, creating a deep sense of admiration and intrigue that she cannot easily ignore. Balanced intrigue and consistency solidify your place in her thoughts. By blending curiosity, subtle challenge, emotional resonance, and calm composure, you create a unique energy that is both rare and magnetic, encouraging her subconscious mind to anchor on your presence. Finally, paragraphs 81 to 90 demonstrate that strategic curiosity, emotional depth, subtle challenge, aligned values, controlled vulnerability, and stoic presence collectively ensure the turning point where she realizes she cannot forget you. These principles are not manipulative. They reflect a disciplined, grounded, and confident energy that leaves a lasting mental and emotional imprint, making you unforgettable. At this stage, the focus is on integrating all stoic principles into your presence. Every interaction, every word, and every question you ask should convey calm confidence, emotional consistency, and purposeful energy. By maintaining this alignment, she begins to notice that your presence is fundamentally different from any other man she has met, marking the final stage of the turning point where she cannot forget you. Subtle challenge and intellectual engagement continue to reinforce attraction. Questions like, do you think you could keep up with someone who always acts intentionally? Or would you dare to discover a hidden part of me? Create mental tension that keeps her thinking about you. The combination of curiosity and stoic calm makes her mentally and emotionally invested without any manipulation. Controlled vulnerability and authenticity deepen her trust and attachment. Asking reflective questions such as, what's a fear you've conquered that changed you? Or have you ever shown your true self to someone and felt completely accepted? Signals emotional strength. She perceives you as someone capable of handling depth without losing composure, which solidifies her mental and emotional focus on you. Playful intrigue and anticipation enhance attraction. Hypothetical questions like, if I revealed one rare trait about myself, would you want to know? Or would you join me in an unexpected experience? Invite her imagination. This mental projection keeps her mind active and engaged, ensuring that thoughts of you linger long after the interaction ends. Highlighting shared values and alignment creates a deep subconscious connection. Questions like, which principle guides your most important decisions? Or what qualities in others inspire you to grow? Demonstrate your intentionality and virtue. She begins to associate your calm, confident energy with reliability, depth, and rarity, reinforcing your unforgettable presence. The power of attentive presence is critical. By fully engaging in conversation, listening actively, and responding thoughtfully without over-explaining or chasing validation, you signal mastery over your energy. She unconsciously registers this as magnetic and rare, compelling her to replay your presence mentally and emotionally. Strategic absence and non-neediness continue to amplify attraction. By showing independence and purpose while engaging fully during interactions, you create space for her to feel your absence, triggering subconscious desire and reflection. This absence paradoxically strengthens her mental connection to you. Curiosity, challenge, and anticipation combined reinforce the final stage of unforgettable attraction. By mixing playful tension, intellectual engagement, and emotional depth, you create a loop where she repeatedly thinks about your presence, actions, and energy, cementing the reality that she cannot forget you. Stoic presence and composure remain the backbone of attraction. Maintaining calm, confident energy, even when faced with uncertainty or testing moments, ensures that her attention and admiration remain focused on you. Women subconsciously recognize this strength as rare, reliable, and magnetic, which is the essence of the turning point. Finally, paragraphs 91-100 integrate all Stoic principles: emotional control, strategic absence, subtle leadership, intellectual engagement, aligned values, playful challenge, controlled vulnerability, attentive presence, and calm composure. At this stage, she fully realizes she cannot forget you. Your presence, energy, and alignment with Stoic mastery create a lasting mental and emotional imprint that guarantees enduring attraction, making you unforgettable in her mind and heart.